Hello and welcome to Friday Night Fights, presented here on Twitch TV by 4th IB. I'm Morgan, and joining me is Barton. Barton, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing very well, Morgan. Had a good day. How about yourself?
Yeah, I've also had a pretty good day, but nothing in my day can beat being here right now with you guys, with you, Barton, here to watch some spectacular PvP gameplay between multiple units across ArmA 3 and multiple players who want to join in the fun. It's going to be a good one. We are joining ever so slightly late, as you guys may have noticed, but don't worry about that. Everything's going to be fine. We've not missed too much. We've just missed the briefing, and the guys are still in their 15-minute time slot where they can figure out their strategies and go ahead with that. So we're going to go into a quick breakdown of what the map is, just so you guys are all caught up to speed, and then we'll kind of go through some ideas of what some of the decisions may be through the players here. So, Barton, I believe this is attack versus defense. Do you want to give some explanation as to what the ladies and gentlemen at home can expect?
Right, so game mode is quite rightly attack versus defense. Blue 4 is the defending faction, and it is the game mode of terminal. And they don't have to do this in any particular order. They can hit any terminal at any time, and they start a countdown once they touch that terminal, and an explosion will happen at the end of that countdown. The attacking team has a set time limit of destroying all three terminals, and the defending team is to defend all three terminals. Usually, the attacking force has superior numbers, and as such, the defenders have to be very wise of how they defend and where they're going to defend. Back to you, Morgan.
Thank you very much. That's a very good explanation there. So, if we have a quick look around the map then before things get kicked off, and we can kind of see then the terrain and what the attacking force have to fight against, and essentially what the defending force, where's the strong points, where they're going to set up, what deviousness is going to go down here today, if anything at all. So, what are you thinking of this map so far here?
Right, from the just off the bat, very, very wooded. So there's going to be a lot of close quarters combat inside woods and firing between wood lines. Particularly the vehicles are going to be vulnerable in this one because they do have a large range of AT and a large range of vehicles, all of which can come up upon enemy infantry in the woodland and then get ambushed in those woodlands. So it's going to be very interesting how both teams use their vehicles, and losing those vehicles can actually sway the game one way or the other, particularly for the attacking team. From that, you got three terminals in different ends of the circle, and none of them are particularly close towards each other. As such, Blue 4 kind of needs to make a decision whether or not they're going to make a defense on all three terminals, or if they want to choose one terminal to solidify and make hard points around. Hard points being custom defendable positions where they defend their objective from. Back to you, Morgan.
Well, thank you very much. And if we have a look then over with the attacking force, what weaponry have they got to essentially break this down with, these defenses? Obviously, we don't know exactly what the plans will be, but we can kind of get a guess based on the arsenal that the Red 4 Op 4 guys have,
Mm-hmm.
and then sort of go from there. So it looks like they've got some air units, which is always good fun to see. You can do quite a lot with that, so that's always good fun. And they've got quite a considerable amount of ground vehicles as well. So, yeah, what do you think their plan is here? Do you think maybe they try and do some behind the enemy lines airdrops, or maybe go for something a bit different?
Well, if I was the attacking commander, I'd definitely be looking at the terrain as such. And we can see from the map, there is, as much as there's woodland around the majority of the map, on the points themselves, they're urban areas. So what they're going to need to do is they're going to need to close the open distance quickly and make a break into that urban area. What they could do is also adopt a more cautious strategy and try to use their vehicles and superior numbers to try to pick off and weaken the defense from afar before making that commitment. But it's going to be very interesting whether or not they're going to make a large rush on certain points and try to get a break into the urban area and just do street fighting, or whether or not they're going to utilize the woodlands and try to encircle the defenders.
And on that, then, if you were the one making the calls here for the Op 4, what would your game plan be?
What I would do from the op 4 again on attack when you're attacking standpoint, you need to know what the enemy is doing or what the defenders are doing in this case, and so you need good reconnaissance. So I'd send out small teams and keeping the majority of my thing in reserve, waiting until those small teams fight and break away from contact, and so we can figure out where the enemy is amassing their forces in the defense. So it's all about getting those, getting good recce down, using those helicopters to figure out where am I getting shot at the most, and avoiding that till the last possible moment.
All right. And then where do you think specifically for the Blue Four guys would be the places you'd like to set up if you were in charge of defense here? Obviously, there's a nice hill which has on where I believe terminal one of the terminals is up on the hill there, and they
Hmm.
seem to be able to look quite a considerable distance across the landscape and are able to tell what would be coming at them. So, in my opinion, I think this hill would be a pretty good strong point. It looks like they have, one call sign here, just sort of, maybe they'll be calling what's coming towards them and trying to sort of feed back to the HQ to decide where all the movements should be. But yeah, where do you think then, Barton? Where do you think that they should set up for optimal defense?
Now, in this instance, there's no real clear decision of where you can need to defend because all of them have their advantages here. You got a mixture of large urban areas and you got some woodlands. Usually in these type of terminal missions or defend missions, you have one that's a superior position compared to the others, but all of them are quite distanced apart from each other, and all of them have different advantages and disadvantages. Personally, from my perspective, I would be abandoning Terminal 3 and just laying traps there, which I hope they're doing, because Terminal 3, you've got so much forested area, there's less open ground for the attackers to have to cover, and so that means they can break in onto the terminal a lot quicker. For the areas around Terminal 1 and Terminal 2, you've got quite a good position, but out of the two, I'd pick Terminal 1 to defend because there's more open area, and the one key problem with Terminal 2 is if they lose the southern hill, to the southern hill, they've got a whole load of dead ground where they cannot see the enemy advancing through. So realistically, I'd adopt the positions around Terminal 1 and make a good all-round defense in this town. Back to you.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, and we've definitely seen it being utilized, that idea of forgoing two of the objectives and just bunkering down on one and making sure absolutely nothing gets in. We've seen it used to quite a bit of success in the past, so it'll be interesting to see if today's version of Blue 4 here in this round, if they go for the same strategy. It looks like they're kind of spreading out between two of the terminals, though, so it may not be what they go for just yet. They seem to be quite spread out quite a bit throughout the area. So potentially they might just be more reactionary and just go and put up stronger defenses based on where Op4 try and assault here today. But let's have a look then at the Op4 guys and see what it is that they're setting themselves up in. So they've got a couple of BTRs. Obviously, they're going to try and use those to great effect. And yeah, they're loading up quite a couple of guys. And it looks like the helicopters are going to be used primarily for recon. I couldn't see if there was any other units inside the helicopters, or if it's just going to be the pilots in both of them.
Hmm. Now, it looks like Op4 is going to try to drive up a very sharp hill here. Ugh, I'm
Only
going to
good
grow
things.
grayer at this rate. What's going on here? Has the mission started yet? It seems like they're still stationary. What's
Oh, there we
going
go.
on?
It's starting now. There we go. They're going up, but as you can see, the speed hasn't changed all that much, apart from that Platoon 1 HQ guys who've just bolted off. But yeah,
So
it's
it looks like they're trying to climb this hill when there's a perfectly nice road. X-ray unit, the Op4 recce section is now heading off along the road. And it looks like the helicopters are also maneuvering. They're using all the vehicles they can, except for quite a lot of the truck. It looks like some trucks are being abandoned. Oh, no. that's changed. They're only leaving one truck behind, so they're taking literally every vehicle they have in play.
I think that's quite a good idea here, because you can use them for quite a bit of distraction tactics by leaving vehicles in certain areas, and also if, as they're going a crazy dangerous route up very steep hills, one of those will inevitably, as its armor, do a backflip and destroy itself. And if you're taking all of the spare vehicles with you, then no one has to go a crazy distance to go and pick up some more vehicles for that you can use as backup. You've got those resources with you at a moment's notice, which I think is quite useful here in this situation.
Absolutely. It looks like Otfo is still struggling up this hill.
Yeah, I think we're going to be here a little while. Should we check in to see where the 4 IB guys are in this op? I believe they're op 4, but I don't know too much more than that.
I believe they've pushed up quite a bit. I think they're in the groups that have actually made it quite far, or hopefully they are. We're looking for A1 and A2 for our boys.
I see A2 back.
Oh no, they're stuck on the hill.
Yeah, they're the ones stuck on the
Oh, of course they're stuck on the hill. So our boys are still stuck on this hill. Small slope has defeated them. Let's hopefully none of them run each other over.
Yeah, that would definitely not be a good sign, as somebody has gotten out, which is always dangerous to do in these situations. But there we go, they've gone back in. So now they're going to slowly make their way up the hill, which maybe it'll work out for them, taking this extra time.
Oh,
It might
all
put
the
Blue 4 on
BTR
the
nearly
edge.
crashed into them there.
Oh, that
That nearly was content right there. That nearly was content. Let's have a
it
look
would
at
have
the
been
rest of
something.
the map. Yeah. It looks like the helicopter has dropped off an element to try to rush down Terminal 3 here. They
Right.
have garrisoned Terminal 3 Bluefor, and so it looks like they're moving to try to defend from this area. But this is a very, very risky play here because isolated unit, no support whatsoever. So if Bluefor did garrison this point, which they have, they're going to be in a lot of trouble indeed.
Yeah, potentially they were banking on the Blue 4 guys just completely foregoing it because of its position, but yeah, it doesn't look like it's gone that well for them. And potentially as well, the helicopter, when it dropped in that element, was called out by this element here by Blue 4. They've spotted that other helicopter circling around, so potentially they saw the drop in as well, which has then put that Op 4 element in considerable danger.
Absolutely. It looks like Bluefor are amassing their defences around what appears to be Terminal 2. And Op4 is looking for both, mainly a western assault. It looks like Bluefor has also occupied a significant hill here, and is starting to make a hard point on this hill near Terminal 2. Further to that, I think the first amount of contact's going to happen shortly, as the westernmost Op4 elements are about to reach Blue 4's vehicle and a small little force over on a hill.
Yeah, I think you might be right. There must have been some information. Well, there has to be information coming across from both sides. They've been in with the helicopters going around. They must have noticed the building going on that hill there, and Blue 4, respectively as well, would have probably noticed that Op 4 were moving up. And yeah, this mechanized element here is that Golf for Blue 4. It has spotted, or it seems to maybe have spotted the mechanized element there from Op 4, the platoon HQ. So yeah, potentially there could be some big combat, going down relatively quickly, which would be a nice change of pace after the first couple of minutes spent crawling up the hill there from Op 4. And does it look like they finally all got up the hill?
Yeah, it looks like Op4 is also being engaged around Terminal 3. They've taken 2 times casualties, so first blood goes to Blue 4 for taking out this isolated element in a rush of Terminal 3. To that, looks like one platoon HQ is possibly been spotted by the X-ray elements, and the Gulf element from Blue 4 is in pursuit. Hopefully, X-ray can communicate that across and maybe pursue down the Op 4 element trying to flee in the situation. But it looks like a proper car chase at the moment.
Yeah, all we gotta do now is cue the Benny Hill music, and it's perfect. It's definitely an interesting decision, I guess, for Platoon 1 HQ to push up so aggressively, completely isolated as well. There must have been a thought process behind this, but as me right now, I don't understand what the thought process would have been. Do you have any ideas on this?
I think they just want to get within the area so they don't really have to move too much and be able to communicate effectively with their men. It was very risky, but they'll probably survive till the very end until they have to make a solid commitment on one of the objectives. Looks like both helicopters are still up, and Op4 is now being encircled at Terminal 3 by the Blue 4 elements.
Yeah, it does look like, and as we zoom on down to watch the action taking place, they've parked themselves up in this fir tree, but yeah, like you said, there are elements all around them patrolling this woodland. And now I think it's safe to call it that this Bravo element for Op4 they won't be getting out, but it's just a moment, it's just a matter really of how much damage can they do before they unfortunately succumb to the elements of Blue 4. But have they been spotted? Yeah, there we go. The shot's coming down. Right. That may be it for that Bravo element. They've definitely been called out at least. So...
Yep, that is the element at Terminal 3, fully lost. And it looks like Blue 4 took little to no casualties from that. Let's look elsewhere, see what's going on.
Yeah, and on that element as well, maybe the plan was to maybe draw some more fire over from the other terminals to that one, as that should, in theory, be easier to assault with more numbers. But yeah, it didn't look to have worked. I don't think Blue 4 have moved any units around. They've held themselves fairly stable and fairly well to this point.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like our boys are currently engaging the Blue 4 X-ray element on top of this hill. Probably just harassing fire. I don't think they see the enemy at the moment, but it will look to be in that position. I think they need to fight through, realize that that enemy force is inferior, and try to win that firefight in total.
Yeah, I completely agree. And hopefully they would be able to potentially get the one of the helicopters to provide a bit of eye star here and just sort of let the guys on the ground know that this element that's in that hill, obviously, well, maybe they don't know it's the X-ray element, but they should be able to call out the fact that it's isolated and it's definitely inferior to the 2+ sections that are pushing up from Op4 here.
Looks like the vehicle's engaging the helicopter at the moment. And the engine is out on the helicopter, and he hasn't maintained enough momentum in the rotors. He's gone.
Yeah, looks like. And it's an explosion as well. Yeah, not even a safe landing there.
Yeah. Looks like the X-ray element of Op4, no, correction, Blue 4 has withdrawn from the contact and has repositioned northbound. And I think that the 1 platoon HQ has been eliminated on the Op4 side as well.
Yeah, I think that you might be right. I don't see them on the all-bat there, and I can't see anything that would potentially be them on the map here either. So yeah, it just does look like then that things not going off to a good start here for Op4. Yeah, potentially they might lose this second helicopter here with the fire coming down there.
Absolutely.
It's looking risky.
Op4's made a rush onto this hill, which the previous Blue 4 X-ray elements was holding. This vehicle might come across this large vehicle push and start really hammering them. And as you were saying, Morgan, this looks to be going in the favor of Blue 4. Because the BTR is currently engaging the Golf vehicle. See if this turns out to be a good engagement for Op4, because at the moment all the chalk wins are going towards Blue 4.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, this mechanized vehicle here has positioned itself so its armor facing forward at the incoming fire, and it does look like, well, I'm not really sure what to make of this, with both of the units sort of maneuvering a bit wildly around.
There we go.
So it looks like then potentially the first Op4 vehicle was there to draw the Blue 4 vehicle out into a crazier position, while the other one was able to lay down some rounds. And it looks like it's worked to a degree. They potentially could have saved that Op4 element on that hill that we saw previously. That it looked like the vehicle was about to lay some rounds on down. But as it's pulled back, given the fact that it was in a losing position there with the BTRs surrounding it, yeah, it's pulled back, and it does look like that it's been safe for now for both sides. No further casualties that we can see. The helicopter here going in some dangerous positions. It's flying right over that town, and we know that the other one was already lost. So it's yeah, it's playing some high risk gameplay right here. I wonder if it's paying off for them.
I think Blue 4 is disciplined enough to start ignoring these areas. I think the vehicles alone are bothering about the helicopter, because it's quite easy to know that they're trying to draw attention to themselves, take as much fire, and give that information out. It looks like 2 Platoon HQ is now engaging the X-ray element of Blue 4, and the X-ray is again broken contact and withdrawing at speed.
And I think Op4 there on I think they just killed the Blue 4 command element. I think that was executed there by these guys in front of us now. I can't see the marker for it down on the ground here, so I'm assuming then that they've killed the command for Blue 4, which will put them in quite a bit of disarray.
Absolutely.
Make all communications much more difficult, and yeah, it looks like they were able to assassinate them essentially there.
Just, it was brutal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do believe you're correct there, Morgan. The command element for Blue 4 has just been eliminated. Even though all the the smaller contacts have gone in Blue 4's favor thus far, that is going to be very significant. And if they don't have a very clear chain of command through multiple different units working together, it's going to be quite quite possible that Blue 4 can no longer respond to what Op4 is doing.
Yeah, and like you said as well, it's going to make everything more difficult. We can hope that they have that chain of command in place, but as we aren't on the ground ourselves, we don't know what it is they have set up. We'll assume someone will be able to pick it up, but how long until they realize that it's needed to be picked up, and what can transpire in that point? And do Op4 know that it's the command element that they just killed? We assume that they do, but if they know that and then they're able to feed it back up to their own command, then potentially they're able to capitalize on that themselves and spread this communication around between the rest of Op4, and maybe they'll try pushing something a bit more aggressively and take advantage of the situation.
Absolutely, absolutely. It does look like the Blue 4 vehicles are still engaging the Op4 helicopter that looks like to be taken out again, and that is Op4 losing both of their helicopters at this stage.
Yeah, and that's fairly early on in the round as well. It may be a few minutes in, but even so, it's you want some of this recce for later on in the round so you can start picking off some of the other areas. And I don't think they gained all that much from the reconnaissance there from the helicopters. Maybe they got the call out of where that lone command element was and were able to get capitalization from that. But from what I can see, obviously not being in there, as we see some contact going down here, these...
Oh! 2 Platoon HQ has just been ambushed by Blue 4 on their push to Terminal 3. The garrison units on Terminal 3 for Blue 4 are doing cracking work here. They've just taken out a Op4 vehicle. It doesn't look Op4's taking many deaths, but a lot of casualties. So their fighting position is going to be very weakened for this engagement.
Yeah, as we can see, then they're starting to throw some rounds down, but there is a potential flank. I don't know if this has been spotted here. It looks like they're going in to sandwich this Charlie 2 Blue 4 element here and potentially take this terminal on the hill. Quite a bit of fighting going down.
Absolutely. Even though the 2 Platoon HQ got ambushed by Blue 4 with a very good AT shot, it looks like Op4 are now making a concerted push onto Terminal 3 and are looking to try to take it as much as possible. So, yeah.
Getting closer into the action, then we can see the guys dotted around here and see where their positions are. And yeah, they've dug some trenches, and they're able to return fire at the incoming Op 4. But it does look like Op 4 do seem to outnumber them as expected with the nature of the game mode. But you know, our Op 4, our Blue 4 in a position to maybe counter this. It's going to be difficult, and they've given away their positions quite obviously with the ambush, which looked to be successful to start with, but maybe the tables have been turned slightly here. The trench starts laying some rounds down there and is taken down himself. Or, yeah, it looks like he's been taken down there. Op 4 have assaulted this position. There's one guy or maybe two guys left here, but spotted. Does look like they're going down. And yeah, Op 4 look then as if they've taken this position fairly comfortably.
Yeah, I believe that is a chalk victory for Blue 4 here. Chalk it up. That is a good push from two sides. Blue 4 did very well, and this element has done a lot of damage to Op 4's numbers. But realistically, there's, you know, that's still a victory on this point for Op 4.
And then do you think, going back to it with how it's played out, that this was the correct decision? I know when we went over our own mini briefing, you decided that potentially forgoing Terminal 3 completely was the play. But with the damage they've been able to inflict onto Op 4, do you think that, in hindsight, this may have been the correct decision to go for Blue 4? Or do you think that, no, the casualties they were able to inflict onto Op 4 weren't significant enough for this position?
Realistically, they weren't significant enough. They took out an element of Op 4 at the very beginning because Op 4 didn't commit enough men to that attack. They thought they could just rush it down without any knowledge of the area and if there was any units there, which was a mistake by Op 4's part. But again, Blue 4's done the damage. They've won that engagement, and then they waited for a large commitment to come from Op 4, and that number superiority and position superiority just decimated the Blue 4 garrison at Terminal 3. So I personally think both teams have lost something there, but it's going to come out equal because every time Blue 4 dies, they've got less men, so they're more valuable per man. So it's definitely equal losses, I'd say. Pyrrhic victory.
Yeah, I think that's a really nice way of putting it, that, you know, for every death, Blue 4 death is more valuable considering their numbers. And I think that's a nice way of wording that. I'll probably steal that in a later show.
Very well, that's no problem.
I did like that. And we have this mechanized element here from Blue 4 pushing up into the open, and I don't think it's spotted the Op 4 on any direction. It's surrounded by Op 4, but, you know, water everywhere, but nothing to drink. This guy, I don't know, is the driver unconscious? No? Okay, he's conscious. I'm just not really sure what he's gone in for. He's put himself directly in harm's way, and I don't think he's got anything off for it at the moment.
It's a very daring play, and it's still alive. Is utterly smashing this Op 4 attack from high speed and just running and gunning in this situation. He's concentrated on that BTR to make sure that any crew in there is dead, and that's the main threat to him. I believe Op 4 has missed all their AT sticks, and now they're stuck in the open with a vehicle that's just surrounding them and putting off rounds. Oh my goodness. Then the AT stick comes, and the crew is finally killed. But the BTR is flown into the sky, grenades are going off. It's a little bit chaotic for everyone involved here.
This is the PvP content that we love to see here.
This is content right now.
This is content, exactly. And yeah, that was a very, well, we'll say brave. Give him the benefit of the doubt there. That was a very brave play. He definitely went in. He had one goal in mind, and it was to disarm that BTR. By the looks of it, he's done it. Maybe not entirely by himself. Maybe physics had some help. Gave him a bit of help there, but yeah, he's conquered that. And when he was finally taken out with a rocket to the back, the explosion did put down a couple of the Op 4 guys surrounding the area as well. So as you were saying before about valuable debt, as something else just goes launching across the screen there. It's Golf 1. I don't know what that was, but I mean, maybe he's done more damage to the area than he thought. He just came flying in and thought, I'm going to stick these vehicles half from the ground, so when someone gets in, they go crazy. And he had a plan, and to some degree it worked. But going back to the valuable point, maybe it wasn't worth it. Maybe the damage he was able to inflict by removing a couple of vehicles and a couple of men on the ground wasn't necessarily worth it with the defensive power that that vehicle could have provided elsewhere.
I totally agree with you there. With that vehicle, I think the BTR has been recovered. So, one BTR blew up from the attack, but the other BTR has indeed been recovered. In terms of the actual casualties, they made a lot of injured and wounded, but that literally Otful was able to get them all back up. And that vehicle was very key to Bluefor's defense. It was the one to take out all of the helicopters as well. So they've had good game impact with that. But it's yet to be seen whether or not the time advantage and the amount of delay in the Opera attack will pay off in the end, because they didn't cause many deaths, they caused a lot of wounds.
Yeah, and that's still valuable to a degree as it uses up some of the logistics that the Op4 guys have, but nowhere near as valuable as losing that massively defensively powerful vehicle that Blue 4 just sacrificed into the hands of Op4 right there. And if we take a look at elsewhere on the map, can we see how the rest of the assaults are going down? So they've solidified in Terminal 2, and they look, Op4 look like they could be set up for a three-pronged attack once they take out Terminal 1. And how are the defenses of Terminal 1 looking? What do Op4 have to contend with over here?
They've got a scattered element to the northeast, probably looking to cause casualties, then fall back. But as our concern was that Bluefall had no chain of command after losing their command element, they do. They've withdrawn entirely from Terminal 1 after losing their vehicle, and they had a convoy come southeast. There's scattered skirmishes to the northeast now, involving Blue 4 and Op 4 that was previously at Terminal 3. But all in all, I think they're consolidating the defense around Terminal 2, which is a very good decision in this stage, because now they've roughly got equal numbers, or if not superior, and they've kind of already won, if you think about it, because now Opful's going to have to close open ground. They're going to have to go into pre-designated fighting positions with equal to or less numbers. So Blue 4, in terms of defending mindset, have accomplished their mission of causing casualties on each of the terminal sites, and now consolidating around the defense, which they know they can hold for a long time.
Yeah, and I think what you said there is key about how they just need to hold for a long time. They don't need to win by destroying or dominating Op4 or anything else. They just need to hold off and play for time. And if they can slow down the press just as long as possible, then yeah, eventually they'll walk away with the victory. And it looks like Terminal 1 will go down at some point, but if they can hold off and distract as many units around there as possible to delay that terminal going down, then it distracts Op4 from being able to just turn their assault towards Terminal 1. And there's some fire being traded across these two positions here. It looks quite engaged fight. Everyone's getting some rounds down. Just sort of suppression at this point, not really targeted fire. But yeah, it's doing the job of holding people up and eating away at their resources. Yeah, just trying to see what people can get away with at this point. And though it does look like potentially some rounds are landing, yeah, people have gone down here. So maybe I should give more credit to the accuracy of the rounds coming down from Op4 there, because yeah, quite a few people in that woodland area have bit the bullet.
Does look like, yeah, you're correct there, Morgan. It looks like Op4 is winning this engagement. Blue 4 set up a static position, but provided no hard cover for it. So it's just a standing man everyone's going to try to shoot him first. So Blue 4 has lost men here. What they should have been doing is putting fire down from a cover position, and then just hiding and letting Op4 waste their rounds over an open field, which they know they can't push, and possibly lose casualties from using their grenades. obviously Bluefall kind of invested too much here, trying to win this firefight instead of just staggering back into their already made up positions inside Terminal 2. So it does look like Bluefall are trying to hold this hill for purpose I am unsure of.
Potentially, it gives a very good look into that town there, and that's maybe what they want to prevent from happening. Maybe it's a very good overlooking position, and it would just be really difficult to prevent an assault coming from that hill, or maybe that's what they think at least. But yeah, the Terminal 1 hack has gone off.
I got a bad thing to tell you. Our boys involved in a red on red incident here. They've gone. Bluefall's made massive confusion inside Terminal 1 of that quick withdrawal. And that Bluefall are still thinking that there's a garrison here, but they've withdrawn. And this X-ray element is just making them think, hey, there's still people here by putting rounds down inside the town. Which has led to blue on blue with one of our elements, A1, being taken fire from the elements at C1, which is not very good. Another time waster. And I'm not too sure how many casualties and ammo they wasted in that engagement.
Yeah, hopefully for the Op4 guys, not too much, but yeah, like you said, you never want to see some blue on blue or anything like that. And yeah, it looks like maybe there's still some rounds going down. People are, sort of looking around there, trying to check their flanks and make sure that they're not getting shot at from elsewhere. And maybe that's sort of putting them in a bit of a jumpy state that they're not really ready to. But yeah, now we know what's going to happen. Op4 are going to have to push into this town to make something happen here. And if you're the one, Barton, that's going to come up with this decision and the battle plan here, how are you going to plan this assault? Let's just say that you can have as many resources left over as you want with grenades and whatnot. We won't try and be too realistic here, but how would you try and plan this assault?
Well, I think your previous comment on a three-pronged attack is going to be the most ideal. What they need to do is they need to figure out a way of closing the distance quickly and not getting bogged down in ranged skirmishes. It has played to Op4's advantage with the northern skirmish, around where Bluefall took a lot of casualties when they should have been falling back. But realistically, they've managed to win that. I don't think that's going to hold up. They still got to cover that open ground, and they still need to get this terminal hacked and destroyed. It looks like Op4 are just pushing through on the ground to the east, and it could be possible that Bluefall will engage these open elements with their HMG they've set up in one of their hard positions to the south. So, really, Op4 need to do a three-pronged attack and use their vehicles to try to close the distance. As you can see now, they're currently getting caught out in the open, out of position, and getting a large amount of fire going down on them. The effectiveness of that fire is yet to be seen.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, it does look quite problematic for Op4 here. They do have a lot of open ground to cover, and thankfully we did see earlier on that they did bring up their vehicles, and all of their vehicles, I think it was anyway. They should be able to use that to their advantage, but maybe the vehicle distribution hasn't gone quite to plan, as that element back there didn't seem to have too much in the way of transport. So they've walked quite a long way, unless maybe they hit a tree just around the corner. But yeah, the Bluefall guys look very well set up and very well defended, and they seem to be ready for this assault here that is coming in. And yeah, as we can see all around, really, there's Bluefall watching the flanks. They know pretty much where the fire is going to be coming from. And yeah, as we watch in this trenched position with this heavy machine gun, and here we are, some vehicles being used to transport some troops in, or at least to cause a distraction, which in these situations could be just what you need.
Looks like the BTR is pushing very far without any infantry support. It could be possible Bluefall gets a nice, easy 80s hit on the side here.
Yeah, especially if they're going to push into the town. That's risky.
Literally on cue, there's the AC hit. And that is deep black smoke. That vehicle is going up. And looks like one element here has been able to get that AT stick, and now it's causing this to cook off. And I'm not too sure how many Op4 elements are going to be taken out by this explosion. C2 is getting very close to this vehicle. I think he hasn't got the memo that the thing's going to explode.
I think he's trying to get his guys out.
Yeah, he might have gone injured by that, but luckily he's still alive. Op4 looks to be caught out of position here onto, built up and prepared blue 4 positions. Although, 2 blue 4 just go down from a very good spray from G1. Just a simple rifleman has just taken out 2 of blue 4, and that might have compromised the blue 4's defense.
Yeah, that was really successful. That was some good shots from that guy. Fair plays to him. He's maybe made the best of a bad situation there by taking out of it. And as I say that, Barton, I know that you love to say the word devious, but it has been redeemed that you are now banned from saying that word.
What do you mean I'm banned?
Yeah, what? It's been in the chat. Someone, Fisher, has redeemed with 750 stream points. I believe we call them rat nibbles here. They've been redeemed, and you're now banned. Maybe the rest of the stream. Who knows? I'll have to see.
Gotta have a new word, aren't I? How much? What word am I going to use now instead? Oh, I can't even say it now.
Soyved. It doesn't really have the same ring to it. We all know what you mean.
Yeah. Please don't ban me from saying content though, because that's my other go-to. Because this is content at the moment. If you ban me from that, I've got nothing to say. I may as well just glue my mouth shut.
I don't believe it for 1 minute, Barton. Your insights, they make the show what it is, and I'm happy that we've got you here to provide the content. Even if you can't say the word content, you're giving the content, and sometimes that's just all we need here. Back to the other content, which is stream here. Yeah, there's quite a successful assault seeming to go down for Op4. Blue 4 on this hill have, after taking down that BTR, been kind of caught out and maybe stretched a bit too thinly. It's it's been tough for them.
Yeah, it's all to play for at the moment because Blue 4 again, reluctant to relieve this hill, have lost quite a lot of their elements onto the north. But they have been taken out Op4 along the way. Looks like our boys are still trying to assault this hill, rearming. I think they know they've won this engagement. Little do they know that more Blue 4 are actually withdrawing into the town at the moment. If they advance, they could actually take out quite a lot of Blue 4 here.
I'm going to join your squad.
Op4 continuing the assault into the town from the west. The Blue 4 defenses seem to be a little bit compromised at this stage.
Yeah, it does look that way. And yeah, looking at the map, Blue 4 guys are spread fairly thin, but with the nature of urban conflict, you don't necessarily need a lot of people to hold off in this situation. Just stick a couple of guys in a house, and if everything goes your way, then you walk out a much stronger party from this. And yeah, as we're saying that, we see this guy here who's just taken out a couple of the Op4 members. And is that a Blue 4 guy left up on the hill who's the last survivor?
Yeah, I believe so. I think he's hiding at the moment, waiting for the opportune moment to strike. I would call it, but I'm going to have to say that's a very high IQ play there. So he's just waiting for them to feel comfortable, try to advance in their time, and then he'll probably try to catch them out.
Which is 3 of us.
And we can only hope that it works well for him at this point to make the banned word play. And we'll have to have to see what goes down. As how has the assault transpired? It doesn't look like they've quite made it into the town itself, just sort of encircled around it at this point.
It does look like Blue 4 are now making a charge down. No, correction. Op4 making a charge down, trying to draw a lot of fire, possibly allow further Op4 elements to make that break-in, as you were saying, but they've yet to find that there's a Blue 4 man inside this house, really stalling their defense from the west.
Yeah.
Looks like someone
in this house is
figured it out, and he's clearing the house now, and has just won that engagement. Very nice headshot at taking out that man.
Fair play to them. But I think this guy was responsible for several kills on the Blue 4 guys, so getting him out, able to get your guys into the town from this angle anyway, is going to be key to Op4's assault. And, yeah, the assault, they've Op4 guys have taken up positions on this hill now, and they're able to start laying rounds down into the town. As what's going on here is
Looks for our high IQ boy is moving in. I would call this play very good. It's a very good play. So maybe if the Op4 continue to fire quite a lot, he'll be allowed to get that information and then really punish them, because the spacing between all these guys and they're all looking at one position here. So it does look like our blue 4 guy is starting to put the rounds down. And now he's trying to withdraw. He did lose 1 casualty, I believe, but they are wounded here.
Yeah, and this point though goes back to your earlier point about the value of the lives here, and maybe the 1-for-1 trade is, you know, not that bad in this situation. Although Blue 4 are outnumbered, it's not just a 1-for-1 in this point, because now he's in the back of their minds at all times. Because he managed to get away and he wasn't taken down, or they weren't at least able to confirm anything. Who knows where this guy could be? He could be absolutely anywhere. And they'll always have to have one guy maybe checking behind them. So it's essentially not just one guy he's removed from the equation. He's removed at minimum 2 guys, and likely more, because they'll all be considering it. So
I need to heal
the
myself.
fact that he's able to get away and just take a vehicle and start Dryden bombing it down the hill. Let's see if any blue on blue happens with this, or is the communication solid.
No, I believe he's fine. I think they recognise. I think they must be on the same short range here. But it looks like Blue 4 abandoned the hard position to the south, but forgot to scuttle one of their heavy machine guns. So that's currently being used against them. It looks like Blue 4 have pulled back to their final hard point around the terminal itself and just trying to consolidate and see if they've got enough numbers to cause the casualties to win. Because in their mind, they think, have we caused enough casualties? We're losing men, we're losing the perimeter. We need to pull back, reorganize, and strengthen the defense. So it looks like Op4 are going to try to push into the previous position with care. But they are on the timer. It is less than 15 minutes, around about 12 minutes left. So there is a free-pronged attack currently, but they still got to cover open grounds and break into urban positions, which is, as you know, Morgan, very casualty intensive.
Yeah, and at this point, we can only really hope that they were able to save some of their resources up to this point. Maybe some grenades, because grenades at this would be crucial. So have they been able to manage, you know, if the Section 2 IC's been able to manage the logistics within their sections, or has it all just been a bit of a free-for-all and, you know, seeing what's going on with the munitions they're able to use? Because, yeah, it's looking... I think if they're able to push in and keep Blue 4 locked into that one house, the final hardpoint house, then it will be fairly straightforward on the assault. You can get grenades in and you can, you know, damage the building in other ways. But yeah, we have a bit of a stare down here with 2 people on opposite sides of a building. It's how is that going to work out? Have they spotted each other? They seem to know roughly where each other are as some rounds do go down.
Yeah, it looks like 4B is losing men here. They got caught out by one Blue 4 just hiding in the building. This is exactly what we're talking about. Casualty-intensive urban fighting. The eastern push looks to be going better than the western push, but again, causing a large amount of casualties for Blue 4 here. Oh, Banks just survives there and manages to take out Blue 4. Let's see if he will doubly tap the body. He can still get up. Doesn't look like he's going to double tap, so that Blue 4 can wake up and possibly punish Banks for not finishing the job.
Yeah, it does look that way, and it was pretty crazy he was able to win that gunfight, but you know what? All more power to him, as there we are, being executed. And yeah, this puts Blue 4 in a bit of a position that one lone soldier in that building is now being pushed on by, there we go, several directions. And they're going to eventually squeeze him out, but let's see what damage he can give back onto the guys here in Op4. Get the one guy maybe. No, he does go down, unfortunately there. But Op4 pushing through, they've, yeah, like you say, on the other side, gone really far in with the eastern push. And I don't know, do you think it's safe to call it at this point? Or is there still so much that could happen? On the timer, we've got about 9.5 minutes.
Yeah, completely undecided here. Really is completely undecided. I think Op4 has regained the numbers advantage and now on the final building from the eastern side. But on the western side, it's a different story. They're still bogged down on the western side and they need to get there. This is the fight here. It's now or nothing, and they need all Op4 units need to get here right now. But they still got units on the perimeter, and we look like we got the X-ray element from Blue 4 flanking as well. So it will be very interesting to see what will happen with this flank from Blue 4 and whether or not that'll be done quickly enough to support the remaining Blue 4 elements holding the point.
Yeah, right you are. And that flank, we've seen it happen time and time again. A Blue 4 flank at the last minute, saving the day, causing mass destruction everywhere, getting confused everywhere. People aren't sure where to go, and then just one guy can make all the difference when it comes down to the wire like this. And this is the content that we're all looking for in these moments, and it's coming down to it. Blue 4 are essentially all stuck in this building. So as Op4 do come in and clear out some guys out, unfortunately, Dryden there goes down. It's looking
Looks
quite...
like a vehicle just blew up. Oh my goodness, it's all over the place at the current time. Clearing buildings, grenades going everywhere. This is a proper fight. This is proper content. Oh, there goes an explosive charge laid by Blue 4, possibly a trap, which would be otherwise, but I can't say it. We've got a break-in on the main building with Op4 here, but they're not into the main room as such.
Yeah, not quite yet. They're getting ready. Maybe they're gonna, call out that they've got this blocked.
Grenade in. 2 grenades. Maybe that'll cause casualties, but that wasn't communicated enough. Oh, there he goes down. Let's see what the rest. It's got to be all over the place at the moment. Got too much to view. It does look like the flanking Blue 4 elements have finally just caught up. I think they've been caught out by these elements that were just reviving each other. And now they are in a fight here on the west. But looks like that Blue 4 flank has lost its potential. It's been noticed.
Yeah.
And it looks to be comfortably being secured by Op4 now. And goes down there. But it looks like it's an Op4 victory.
There we go.
2 more Blue 4 remaining. But the numbers advantage for Op4 just means that it could be, it could. I'm gonna say this. I'll call it for Op4 here because the situation is just so dire for Blue 4 here.
Yeah, I don't really see what else they can do. They're doing the best they can with what they're given, but the numbers completely against them. There's a considerable amount of Op4 still remaining, so these guys here would have to do something unbelievable to make it through this time. They're doing what they can, but I think it's just unfortunately not enough, as they do seem to go down there, and not much else other than just hacking the terminal now with a few minutes to spare.
He's hiding in the bathroom. This is quite interesting. Oh, they're going to be stacking on this wall and breaching in, pre-firing as they go.
Yeah. Proper SWAT style.
Oh, kills another. Oh, wounded, and down he goes. 1 Blue 4 remaining wounded on the floor. Possibly could wake up, but he's got 1 minute to do so. So Morgan, I think I'm very, very comfortable call for Op4 here.
I think so. I think you're right. And yeah, it was quite an action-packed round there, especially towards the later stages. It was even from the beginning, I think there was quite a bit of action going down. There was helicopters getting shot down trying to get reconnaissance, and there was all sorts of skirmishes and battles going on all over the map. But yeah, what key points do you want to highlight from this map then? What do you think the turning points were that put Op4 in the victory? Because if I remember correctly, early on we saying that Op4 potentially even made some misplays.
Yeah, it definitely swang in two directions, as you said, Smith. No, Smith Morgan. Sorry, just reading Smith on the screen. But it definitely swang both directions. From Blue 4's great shooting, with taking out the helicopters early on, taking out a platoon commander position early on. It was all very, very well done at the very start. But I think what happened with Blue 4 is that they overcommitted in terms of garrisons in different areas, which wins in very rare instances. As we saw in Terminal 3, once Op4 made a concerted effort, they had the numbers advantage and they wiped out the garrison there. And the numbers that the Blue 4 had there, they couldn't afford to lose. Once they know they've had game impact by eliminating a team of 4, set up charges, set up the high IQ plays, and then withdraw and help other elements. Blue 4 did the right thing, but they didn't. I don't think their hard points was as they weren't really mutually supportive. They were all just in a circle rather than staggered layer by layer, and I think they gave the hard points on the hill and stuff up too early, and so it kind of led to them being encircled and having that high casualty rate. I can understand urban fighting is good, but when they have that and they're having a circle bit, it's not too good. You can have some plays that work, but others they just abandoned. I think Op4 won with once they got the vehicles down, they kind of got that. But it definitely looks like it was Blue 4, Blue 4, Blue 4, then swapped to Op4 at the end. You're absolutely right. Back to you.
Oh, well, thank you for that, and I'm delighted to say that you are now allowed to say devious again. We have had it confirmed. And also, I don't know if you saw this, but during that last round, there's considerable amount of bits going on in the chat here. So shout outs to a couple of people, Spooky Ghost, Vils, and and Fisher as well. And there are many others, but you're the ones that I can see popping up right now. So huge thank you to you guys. You didn't have to give that at all. But I guess that leads on to the segue of the fact that we are now an affiliate channel. So massive shout outs to everybody for turning up to these past few shows. I've had an incredible time doing them, and I hope you've had a really good time watching these as well. And the support that you give on the stream and off the stream as well is incredible. It's really helpful for us all, and means that we're able to eventually cause these shows into bigger and better things. So as the fact we are now affiliate, and we have the channel point system active, which has been used to effect already with banning Mr. Barton here from being able to say devious, but
not happy about that. Not happy about that.
And there are other ones as well if you guys want to have a look at that and save your points and try and get us all to do some crazy things. But if you do want to go that extra mile and go for the support, there is also that subscribe button. And Amazon Prime is the best way of doing that. If you have Amazon Prime, you can use your Twitch Prime subscription. It doesn't cost you anything extra, and then we still get the same value out of that. So a huge thank you to everyone who's supported so far. I mean, the fact that give us so many thank yous means that, or it feels like, we're closing off here, but don't worry, we've still got 2 more, hopefully exciting content-filled rounds to go. But yeah, I think we're going to take a quick break here. We're going to show you some going to have some nice music for you and potentially video as we move into this break. And while we are on this break, then I want to know what you guys in the chat think was the most pivotal moment in that round that caused the swing there for Op4's victory. I'm excited to hear what you guys all think. Personally, my one, I'm going to say that execution of the command element, the Blue 4 command element, that must have had a knock-on effect, because up until that point, I think Blue 4 were comfortably in control, and then after that point, it seemed to swing around. Other factors there, of course, but I think that point for me is one of the most defining. I'm interested to hear what you guys think. But for the time being, we're going to go to a break, and we will see you shortly, so don't go anywhere.